Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into another Akem'S analysis. We got an amazing preview video for you guys today. Whether you're riding with the Griz, the Bobcats, or your favorite NFL team, it's time to put your sports knowledge to the test with Sportsbet Montana. Bet legally right here in-state at kiosks inside your favorite local bars and casinos. Grab a drink, check the lines, and lock in your picks. Spreads, over-unders, and winning parlays. Bet local, win local, and bring the action closer to home with Montana's exclusive sportsbook, Sportsbet Montana. Your game, your bets, your state. Powered by the Montana Lottery. It's going to be a really good week in FCS football. We have some amazing games on the docket. Most importantly, we got Montana versus Weber State, which we'll be talking about first. Then we got Montana State playing Northern Colorado. Could the Bears potentially do something in Greeley at home? I don't know. We'll see. Next, we're talking about North Dakota State and Youngstown State. Obviously, Beau Brungard is the conversation there. And then the whole North Dakota State squad, their numbers are ridiculous. So we'll get to that game. And then we want to talk about Idaho versus Northern Arizona. Idaho's 3-5, I know, but Northern Arizona is still like a fringe playoff team. So, we cover the Big Sky. We got to get to that game. And then lastly, the last game that we'll cover broadly is Tarleton State versus Abilene Christian. I'll probably talk the longest about that game. Just because Tarleton's 9-0, Abilene Christian 4-4, 3-1 in conference play though. Don't let that go over your head. Abilene Christian's been like an up and down team. Like they lose the weird games. They lost to Incarnate Word, but they beat Stephen F. Austin. Like, I don't know. And then we got some no-huddle notes. Some really interesting no-huddle notes. We'll be talking about Coach Brennan Marion. He was just fined by the Big Sky Conference. So we will talk about that. North Dakota, Harvard, Tennessee Tech, Drake, Mercer, UTRGV, Prairie View A&M. All of it. We'll talk about all of it. Make sure you guys hit the like. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below. And we will get straight into it. Okay. First things first, I want to say I did do the national numbers last week. But that took a little time to get all the national numbers. It's much quicker, and I feel like it's much better when we use conference numbers because obviously we're in conference play right now. I think when we get to the playoffs, that's when we look at the national numbers. I mean, the national numbers still matter, no matter what week you're in, no matter if it's conference play, non-conference play, the national numbers matter. But we are looking at conference numbers right now. And Montana's playing Weber State. Obviously, if you follow this team at all, they lost a tough one at home to this Weber State squad last year in a game that really, from my standpoint, was an inexcusable loss. I mean, some of the losses they took last year, you're like, you understand the team had just went to a national championship. Maybe they had a little hangover. You don't expect them to be perfect. But to lose this game to this Weber State team can't happen. And that is where you are at this point in the season. You're 8-0. If you're the Montana Grizzlies, you cannot lose this game. I would fully expect this game to be a black flag game for the Grizzlies if I know Coach Houck well enough, especially considering, this is a team that the Grizz lost to inexplicably in 2024. You cannot let that happen this week. This is a must-win game, not even because, any game going forward for the Grizz is a must-win. One, you got to win if you want high seed, top 2 seed. You got to win out. You got to win out if you want to win the Big Sky Conference, and you must win out if you want to make the playoffs. So, every week for the Grizz is a must-win. Every week for any team is a must-win. But knowing the Montana culture, knowing Coach Houck and his coaching staff, this has to be a black flag game for the Grizz, and this has to be a game that they go into knowing and expecting to win. One thing I want to see from this team this week is I want to see Eli Gilman kind of reinvigorate himself. I know he scored a touchdown last week against Sac State. It was an awesome touchdown. I know he scored the week before against Sacred Heart. I believe they played the week before. I think he scored a couple touchdowns in that game as well. And maybe I'm talking out of my ASS. But I'd love to see Eli Gilman get like 100, 150 yards. Weber State has the 9th best rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. They're allowing 196.8 yards per game. I see a lane for where Eli Gilman can really feast on this defense. They get the number 10 scoring offense in the conference. When I'm mentioning all these numbers, remember there's 12 teams in the Big Sky Conference. They got the 11th best scoring defense, allowing 37.1 points a game. 37.1 points a game. Not good. They have the number 12 passing offense. As you know, they gave up 300 yards they gave up 300 yards to Cardell Williams last week. 200 to one receiver, Ernest Campbell. The number 12 passing offense, that's something that Montana can really, I don't know. this is a game where the secondary of Montana can really gain some confidence in their ability, gain some confidence in, because although Montana has not been the strongest defense, when you look at although Montana has not been the strongest secondary, they haven't been the best at defending the pass. Montana's first in the conference in interceptions. They got 10 interceptions. So it's like, on one hand, this team, because let's look at the numbers. Per conference numbers, Montana has the number 10 passing defense in the Big Sky Conference. They're allowing 251.8 yards a game. They have a worse passing defense than Weber State, who's at the bottom of the conference. 1-3 in conference, 3-5 in conference. Obviously, you look at that number, you think, okay, well, obviously they have an offense that is explosive, the best offense in the conference, one of the top 5 offenses in the country. They can put up points. Where they run into trouble at, it might be top 10 offense, but top 10, top 5 offense in the country statistically. But where they run into trouble at is defensively, and really it's the passing defense numbers. Rushing defense, they got the number 3 rushing defense in the Big Sky Conference. Passing defense, they got the number 10 passing defense in the conference. So there's a clear outlier in these numbers. Number 1 scoring offense, number 2 scoring defense, number 3 rushing offense, number 3 rushing defense, number 2 passing offense, number 10 passing defense, number 8 in sacks allowed, number 6 in sacks at 16, number 2 in third down conversion percentage offense at 47.9%, and number 5 in third down conversion percentage defense. So there's no statistic where Montana is higher than 8 being in sacks allowed. But really, when you look at the rushing, passing, and scoring offense and defense, the passing defense is the outlier. So for Montana, that's something that they got to shore up. You're playing against the number 12 passing offense with the number 10 passing defense. We'll see weakness on weakness. We'll see which weakness stands out the highest. But this is a game where the Montana defense can really stand out. But I mean, just think about that how contrasting that is. You have the number 10 passing defense in the conference, but also you lead the conference in interceptions. Make it make sense. I don't get it, man. 10 interceptions. The next best is Sacramento State at 9 interceptions. And honestly, when I saw this stat for Montana, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, wait, Montana leads the conference in interceptions? What? I guess that because, Central Washington, I think they got a couple of interceptions. I think they have multiple games where they got multiple interceptions. And I think that's what really, what am I thinking? Cal Poly, they got 4 interceptions. So, when you're getting 4 interceptions in one game, you're definitely going to be at the top of the leaderboard in that. But it's just a little crazy to look at that number. It's a little crazy to look at that number for Montana and see where they're at in terms of their passing defense. But if a team's going to put the ball up, they're going to put the ball up in harm's way at times. What do we got on here? This needs to be a game for the Griz where they dominate from the first snap to the last. It is a time for the Griz to play a perfect game, which they haven't done since Indiana State. I think this is a point in the season where, me and Colter Nuanez talked about it on the Big Sky Breakdown yesterday, where we kind of discussed that Montana State really, Brent Vegan was not happy. They won by 17, and he was not really pleased with the way they won. And he felt as though they should have been better. He felt as though they were a little sloppy. He felt as though they weren't clean. And that's what I kind of said on that is like, it's that time of the season where you need to be playing your best ball. If you're not playing your best ball, you need to be very close to playing your best ball. Defensively, offensively, special teams wise. You need to be taking care of the football. Your quarterback, your running back, and your receivers need to be playing at a high level. Your offensive line should be gelling at a high level. That's one thing you can say about that Montana State squad is as the season has progressed, their offensive line has played better and better and better and better. And it was probably a weakness for them early on in the season because they were shifting around players, and now it's really a strength for them. I think that's where we need to see this Montana defense shift to is they need to become I don't know if the Montana defense at any point in the season is going to become a strength, but I think they need to start to play their best ball. I think they need to, I think you really need to see, you've seen some really good performances from them. So I don't want to take anything away from the fact that you have seen some good performances from this Montana defense, but some of the numbers aren't favorable. And some of the numbers don't look great. So would love to see them play a perfect game. Weber State is not a super strong team, but they also weren't a strong team in 2024, and they beat the Griz at home. That is the number one thing you need to look at. This team lost to Weber State last year. They can't let that happen again. I don't know if Weber State even has the firepower to be able to compete with this Montana team, but this is the Big Sky Conference, and anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday. So Montana needs to be in their lunch pail. Montana needs to be ready, and I expect them to be ready. When we look at some of the full numbers from Weber, I think I said the full numbers for Weber State. I don't think I finished, but number 10 scoring offense, number 11 scoring defense, number 6 rushing offense, number 9 rushing defense, number 12 passing offense, number 5 passing defense. So decently well on the passing defense and rushing offense. Davion Godley, their running back, is a really good player. Number 3 in sacks allowed. Number 5 in sacks. That sacks allowed number is one I have highlighted. They've allowed 11 sacks in the season. That's number 3 in the conference, which is kind of crazy because I think Idaho State's at number 1 in the conference. They're at like 3. I think the next best person is at 9. But number 9 in third down conversion percentage offense at 34.3%. And number 4 on third down conversion percentage defense at 36.8%. So those are the numbers for each team's. Obviously, Montana's got to play a clean game. Montana's got to be good on all phases. And I think they come out with the victory if they do that. You guys let me know what you think about Montana versus Weber State. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on. L&M Fine Jewelry isn't just sparkle, it's tradition, commitment, and Montana craftsmanship you can count on. Whether you're celebrating a touchdown, an anniversary, or a new beginning, we've got the jewelry that makes every moment golden. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell, we're ready when you are. L&M Fine Jewelry is the official jeweler of Akem'S Analysis and the Samuel Akem YouTube channel. They do a phenomenal job. It's a family-owned jeweler. Michael and Landy are the owners of L&M Fine Jewelry, and they do a phenomenal job. Please go check them out when you're looking to buy that special ring for that special person. L&M Fine Jewelry, your diamond destination. Okay. Might be a sneaky, exciting game. The line is not saying that this game is going to be exciting. The line per Sportsbet Montana for this particular game between Montana and Northern Colorado, the Bobcats are favored by 24.5, and the point total is set at 53.5. For the Grizzlies, if you didn't hear me mention it, they're 28.5 point favorites, and the line is set at 61.5 for that game. But Montana favored by 24. Is that what I just said? Hey, man, CTE sometimes. 24.5. They're favored by 24.5. I think there's 3 players if you're Montana State that you got to key into for this Northern Colorado offense. Carver Cheeks, Eric Gibson Jr., Braden Monroe. There is no other player on their offense. No offense to their offensive line or their running backs. Their running game is not strong. They are probably the weakest rushing offense in the conference. They're number 10 in rushing offense in the conference at 117.9 yards per game. That is nasty. They can't really run the ball. And that really, outside of what they don't do defensively, they defend the pass at a high level. Their passing defense is actually number 1 in the Big Sky Conference, allowing 180.3 yards per game. But their rushing defense is abysmal. Their rushing defense, they allow 216.6 yards per game. And that really, it's so funny because when you look at this Northern Colorado team, they pass the ball well. Funny enough, their defenders are good at defending the pass. Funny, they probably defend that in practice, and they're pretty good. I mean, Cam Chapa, I would say he's an all-conference defender. He's really good. He led the conference in interceptions, tied with Jace Kluswich at Montana last year. But Cam Chapa's a dog. He's a dog. He's definitely a dog. I like him a lot. But it's kind of funny with this Northern Colorado team. They don't defend the run well, and they don't run it well offensively. Rushing offense, I think I just already said their rushing offense number, but 117.9 yards per game. They got a pretty decent scoring defense. They're the number 3 scoring defense in the conference, which I believe is right behind Montana. They allow 24.6 points per game. Montana's allowing 24.1 points per game. So, I mean, this Northern Colorado team is not terrible defensively. They're not terrible, and I've been telling people all season, they're not terrible. Obviously, they're not there yet, and that's what I meant when I said close. Are they close to making the playoffs? Maybe. I mean, I saw a statistic the other day. I think it was yesterday. I saw a graph where it was like showing what NFL records would be had the game gone, had those one possessions gone the other direction. Like it was a one possession game, had the possession gone in the other team's favor. This is what their records would be. The Chiefs would be undefeated, which is crazy to think about. But if you look at a lot of these games for Northern Colorado, Colorado State, they would have won that. Now we're looking at a 4-4 team. They beat Sacramento State. Now we're looking at a 5-3 team. They're 3-5 right now. There's some other games in there that they were very close in. I think South Dakota, they were pretty close in as well, but they gave up 300 rushing yards in that game. You don't deserve to win a game when you let one runner. They gave up more than 300 rushing yards, but one runner had 300 rushing yards. You do not deserve to win any football game when you allow a player to rush for 300 yards. Point blank, period. But Montana State, given the way Coach Vegan felt after that game, given the comments that Vegan was making, given not to say that he was angry, but, he wasn't pleased with the way they played. I expect Montana State to really come out with some fire this week. I expect them to really play with a different level of intensity. I think one of the biggest reasons why we probably saw Montana State in a little lull last week was because they're coming off a bye week. I mean, coming off a bye week, no team is going to be perfect. When you haven't played football, when you haven't been tackling, when you haven't been running around, I don't expect any team to be perfect. That's why, tackling is so bad at the beginning of any season, because they haven't been doing it. When you haven't been doing it, you're not used to it. You got to get back used to it. So I expect Montana State to look much better. I think their passing defense will be tested. They have the third best passing defense in the conference at 209.3 yards per game. To talk about the numbers of Montana State, the number 3 scoring offense at 33.5 points per game. The number 1 scoring defense at 17.5 points per game. Take that Oregon game out of there. That number is lower, which is scary. The number 2 rushing offense at 233.8 yards per game. The number 1 rushing defense, they're allowing under 100 rushing yards per game. That doesn't really matter against Northern Colorado because they don't run the ball strongly anyway, but Montana State is allowing 93.6 yards per game on the ground, which is phenomenal. I think that's actually even though because the 2 teams in the Missouri Valley, North Dakota State and North Dakota, are allowing like 89, both allowing like, one's allowing like 89.6, the other's allowing like 89.1, but Montana State is right there. So when you think about good run-stopping teams, Montana State is certainly up there with the best of them in the country, and that is what kind of leads this defense, the run-stopping. Funny enough, Montana State is second to last in the conference in sacks, and I would look at this Montana State squad and say they probably have some of the best pass rushers in the conference. Kenneth Iden, Zach Cruz, gosh, why am I going blank all of a sudden? Parsons, Paul Brott, even in his own right, can rush the passer from the defensive tackle position. I mean, they got some good pass rushers on this Montana State squad. So the fact that they only have 12 sacks in the season, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know why that is the case, but the numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. So although we know this is a team that has the ability to rush the passer at a high level, I don't know why they're not coming up with the sacks, because one thing a smart philosopher once said was, if he can rush the passer very well, why doesn't he rush the passer well? Like, I think it was in relation to the defensive tackle, the defensive end who was signed to who got drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't sign him. I can't remember his name. He's a Texas A&M guy. But like they said, his sack numbers in college weren't great, but he was drafted really high as a pass rusher. And somebody commented, was like, if he rushes the passer well, why doesn't he? Something about like, if he rushes the passer well, why doesn't he rush the passer well? Like basically saying like, if he is a good pass rusher, they should rush the passer well. I believe this Montana State team is a team that rushes the passer well, but the numbers don't line up with that. So little concerning from there. But the number 8 passing offense, the number 3 passing defense, the number 10 in sacks allowed at 18, the number 11 in the conference in sacks at 12, first and third down conversion percentage offense at 48.5%, and first and third down conversion percentage defense at 27.8%. I need you to understand how crazy that third down conversion percentage defense number is. 27.8%. That means on less than 3 out of 10 third downs, when offenses are going against this Montana State defense, they are not converting. Less than 3 out of 10. Less than 3 out of 10 teams are converting. That is madness. You don't see that. Just if you're wondering, that's madness. I mean, like, I think if a team converts about 50% of their third downs, that's like good. It's like, oh, they converted 50% of their third downs. I think that's pretty good. 50 to 60% is, I think, like pretty good on third down conversion percentage defense. Montana State is allowing teams to convert less than 3 out of 10, less than 30%. These guys are really good on defense. I'm really excited to see what this game is going to look like. I think it could be a game where Northern Colorado tests this Montana State squad. I think it could be a game where, they push them to the limits. But I ultimately think Montana State will win this game. And I think one of the biggest reasons for them winning this game is because of the rustiness from last week. Brent Vegan, not pleased, not happy with how they played. He's going to come in. They're going to be on a mission. They're going to want to right their wrongs from last week. And if I know this Montana State squad well enough, they've usually correct their wrongs in the following weeks when they haven't looked the cleanest. So I expect Montana State to roll Northern Colorado, but do not rule out the possibility of this being potentially close. Do not rule out the possibility that we may see a nail biter, because this Northern Colorado squad is good. They're not a bad team, and that's what I want people to get off of. This is not the Northern Colorado of old. You are not penciling in a W against this Northern Colorado team. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to roll over. They're not going to play the cleanest. They don't have great defense. They can't run the ball. There are some downfalls of this team, as there are any team that's not the top of a conference. Any middle of the pack team, you can look at them and say, oh, they don't run the ball well. They don't stop the run. They don't tackle well. They're sloppy. They're undisciplined, all that stuff. But I think Northern Colorado can do things and can potentially make things interesting. One note I put on here, I said UNC would beat either MSU or UC Davis, and they failed against UC Davis. So this is the game where they have a chance to make things interesting. They have a chance to make me right. I said that to Keenan Curran. I probably say I put it on like a 1.5 out of 10 chance of happening, but that 1.5 though. So you guys let me know what you think about this Montana State versus Northern Colorado game down below, and I will move on. Okay, we are talking about North Dakota State versus Youngstown State. North Dakota State has obviously been a wagon. I didn't even realize, so I went back to conference numbers for this week. For those of you guys who didn't watch the beginning of the video, but I went back to conference numbers this week. And last week, I was talking about national numbers, and for some reason, I just didn't like it. I want to go back to the conference numbers because we are talking about in-conference play. So I want to see how these teams line up with their conference counterparts. When I didn't even realize this when I was writing the North Dakota State numbers down. But as I looked at my notes after I had written down the North Dakota State numbers, they are number one in the conference in everything. I am not bloviating when I say that. They are number one in everything. Everything. Number one scoring offense, number one scoring defense, number one rushing offense, number one rushing defense, number one passing offense, number one passing defense, number one in sacks, number one in sacks allowed, number one in sacks, number one on third down conversion percentage offense, and number one on third down conversion percentage defense. That is crazy. And I'm going back through to make sure I wasn't crazy. Offense, defense, passing, defense, sacks allowed, sacks, interceptions. They're not number one in that. They're actually towards the middle of the conference in interceptions. Conversion percentage, third down conversion percentage off, third down. They're number one in everything. They're number one in everything. Make it make sense. This team is freaking good, man. They're freaking good. I don't have any other words for this. Like, I don't know what else I can say, what other superlatives, whatever words, adjectives, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what else I can say about this North Dakota State team. They're very good. I don't see Youngstown State beating them. I don't know if I would put a high chance on Youngstown State beating them. If they are going to beat them, I think Beau Brungard has to have the type of game that he had against Illinois State. You got to have 200, 300 passing yards. You got to have a bevy of rushing yards. What did he have in Illinois State? I think he had like 230 rushing yards on the ground. He has to have a game like that. There has to be a game like that. Maybe he had 200 rushing yards. I think he had 200. I don't even remember, but he had a crazy amount of rushing yards, a crazy amount of passing yards. Beau Brungard makes this team go. Where Beau Brungard goes is where the Penguins go. That is just simply put. Is it the Penguins? Youngstown State Penguins? I believe it is, right? I'm not crazy, right? Youngstown State Penguins. I'm pulling up their it's the Penguins. It's the freaking Penguins, man. The Youngstown State Penguins. But I don't know. It's got to be Beau Brungard. It's got to be Beau Brungard. Cole Payton playing at an extremely high level. Barika Pinu playing at an extremely high level. Bryce Lance playing at an extremely high level. I mean, we just watched them roll the number 2 team in the country. Granted, they were missing their starting quarterback. One of their starting linebackers got hurt in that game as well. Don't love to see that, but they just rolled them. I mean, I'm not trying to say this as an indictment against South Dakota State. I don't think it mattered if Chase Mason played in that game. I still think North Dakota State wins by 2 to 3 scores. Unfortunately, for any South Dakota State fans. And I know the conversation this week has been, is everybody playing for second? I don't want to necessarily say that because so much can happen. There's so many things that can happen. So you must play the games. The games are not played on paper. The games are played on grass, which is what you have to take into account. But if you've watched this team play at all, it's hard to see anybody beating this team. It's just extremely hard for me or anybody who's watched this team to conceptualize anybody beating this team. Think about this for a second. No team has scored more than 17 points on this NDSU squad this season. 17 points. That was put up by Illinois State. No team has put up more points than Illinois State, and it's only been 17. That is crazy, man. I mean, that is crazy. This team is allowing 9.6 points a game. Remember that South Dakota State defense from 2023 that was all world, was the best defense in the country by a country mile? That North Dakota State defense is similar to that. It's similar to that. And I think statistically, they're actually a little better. I haven't fact checked that, so you can fact check me if you want. Leave the actual facts in the comments if you want. I would love that. But I think this defense is statistically a little better in terms of their point per game average, their rushing defense, their passing defense. I mean, rushing defense, this defense is allowing 89.1 yards a game. On average, teams are rushing for 90 yards a game on this team. You cannot win a game if you can't rush for more than 100, 150, 200 rushing yards. I just don't see it in college football. It just doesn't happen. Now, in the NFL, 100 rushing yards, 130. And now you can win a game if your opponent is also playing that, is also not rushing the ball, is also, like, if statistically you guys are equal, you can definitely win a game rush for 100, 130. But in college, what I see is teams that rush for 150, 200, those are the teams that win. Those are the teams that can run the ball effectively. If you can't get over 150, 200 rushing yards, it's going to be a hard day for you. It's going to be a hard day for you. North Dakota State is holding teams at 89.1 yards a game. Let that sink in. Let's look at the Youngstown State numbers. Number 4 scoring offense in the conference. Number 7 scoring defense at 27.9 points a game. That's not great. Number 4 rushing offense. Mind you, there's 9 teams in the Missouri Valley. 10 teams in the Missouri Valley. 10 teams in the Missouri Valley. So when I say these numbers, understand that there's 10 teams in the Missouri Valley. Number 7 scoring defense. Number 4 rushing offense. Number 4 rushing defense. Number 2 passing offense at 247 yards per game. Not bad. Number 7 passing defense. Let me highlight that real quick. Number 7 passing defense. Number 2 in sacks allowed at 10. Number 8 in sacks at 11. Number 3 in third down conversion percentage offense at 43.7%. And then number 4 in third down conversion percentage defense at 35.4%. So honestly, I would probably say most of these, most of these numbers are probably like middle of the pack for Youngstown State. They're a middle of the pack Missouri Valley football team, above average Missouri Valley football team. They got a tough schedule though. I mean, I think Youngstown State basically plays like everybody. They have to have one of the toughest strengths of schedules in the country, because they basically play everybody in the Missouri Valley. I think that's who I'm thinking of, but I'm almost certain Youngstown State plays virtually everybody in the Missouri Valley, and they got a tough schedule. So this is the next game on their schedule. I think it basically comes down to Beau Brungard. You gotta to beat this North Dakota State squad, you really, really, really need to find a way to stop the run game. I mean, it starts with that, stopping the run game. Now, Cole Payton is extremely efficient. He can throw the ball wherever he wants to, and he can use his legs as well. So just stopping the run game of Barika Pinu and the running backs is not enough. You must also stop Cole Payton. You have to hold this team under 150 rushing yards, and maybe even under that. Rushing offense, they're averaging 244 yards a game. I think 150 is a good bar to set for a team to be able to maybe hang close, but I don't even think that's enough. I think you need to be better than that. But you know, Beau Brungard, the biggest weapon, he is the player that all of this is going to go behind. Whether they're going to win or they're going to lose is going to be on the back of Beau Brungard. So that is the player to pay attention for in this game. Obviously, you know the stars for North Dakota State. They are always going to shine. But obviously, good teams bump their head. And I'm not hoping that North Dakota State bumps their head, but I'm saying good teams bump their head. Great teams are always ready. This may be a great team. So we will see what North Dakota State is able to do against Youngstown State. There's a small chance that Youngstown State could make things interesting, but I expect North Dakota State to win this one comfortably. You guys let me know what you think about this North Dakota State versus Youngstown State game down below, and I will move on. Okay, Idaho versus Northern Arizona. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this game is on ESPN2, and I believe it's being played on Friday of this week. It is. It's played in Flagstaff at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN2. So tune in. I think when this game was first picked for ESPN2, Northern Arizona was obviously a playoff team last year. Idaho was also a playoff team last year. So when they're putting the schedule together, they're like, hey, Northern Arizona playoff team, Idaho playoff team, not going to the Kibbie Dome. They are going to Flagstaff, but still, it's an exciting game. Well, things are a little different now. Things are just a little bit different now. Idaho is 3-5, 1-3 in conference play. They lost 4 straight before getting a win last week against, I don't even remember who they got a win against. Let's pull it up right here. They got to win against Portland State. Everybody gets a win against them. They're defeated. Not surprising there. But Josh Wood was back. Josh Wood is healthy, so I expect that to change things for them. And all the other things, other end of things, Northern Arizona really, really, really needs to win this game if they want to keep any hope of the playoffs alive. Let's look at the remaining schedule for Northern Arizona after this game. So they got Idaho at home this week. Next week, they play Northern Colorado. No easy game, but they get it in Flagstaff. The week after that, they play Cal Poly. No easy game, but they get it in Flagstaff. Northern Arizona got 3 straight home games. Oh, my goodness. Am I looking at this right? They play on the 31st. Then they play on the 8th. And then they play on the 15th. All 3 in Flagstaff. Okay. And then after they play Cal Poly, they play, Weber State to finish the season? Yeah, Weber State on the road. So they finish on the road with Weber State. No easy schedule for Northern Arizona, but they should, if they are truly a playoff team, Idaho should not beat you. Now, am I certain that Northern Arizona is a playoff team this year? I'm not certain about that. I'm not. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not certain that Northern Arizona is a playoff team this year. But if they are, you can't lose this game. You can't lose this game. You got to win this game. NAU needs to win this game if they want to keep their hopes of making the playoffs alive this season. Idaho can change a lot of minds about who they are this season with a win in this game. I truly believe that. Now, obviously, Idaho's, I believe, down and out of the playoffs. If they went out, they finished 7-5, which is what I said they would finish this season. I don't doubt that they could win out. I don't think they will, but I don't doubt that they could win out. But if Idaho wants to let people know that, hey, we're not great this year, but we are still there. We're still close. We're still, in the not necessarily in the conversation, but we're still, around. We're still hanging around. I don't even know. Idaho needs to win this game though. To gain some respect of the conference, they need to win this game this week. They need to win this game this week. And a lot of metrics, Idaho is better than NAU. That's facts. But they have come up short a lot this season. And a lot of the statistics in the conference statistics, Idaho is pretty dang decent. Pretty dang decent. And I'll get to the numbers in a second, but Idaho's better than NAU in some of the metrics, some of the numbers. They just haven't been able to finish this year, man. They just haven't been able to finish. Injuries to Josh Wood hurt them as well. That is why they took losses to UNC and Eastern Washington. I strongly believe that. I don't know if they would have beat either of those teams with Josh Wood, but I think injuries to Josh Wood are one of the direct reflections of why they lost those games. Now, we're not trying to make excuses for anybody. Next man up is obviously how you got to play, but let's understand they did have injuries. Guys were hurt. Guys weren't 100% healthy, so just understand that. I think this will be a grinded out football game, but in the end, I think Josh Wood's playmaking will be the difference in this game. So, yes, I do think Idaho will win this game. Yes, I think this is a game where Idaho's going to be not only playing on national television, but if I'm not mistaken, this is their second nationally televised game of the season because they played Montana on ESPN2 earlier in the season, and now they're playing Northern Arizona on ESPN2 later in the season. I think this is a situation where it's like, man, respect, man, respect. Where is your pride? And that is what I say this all the time, and I haven't said this on the channel ever. But one thing you see in the NFL, and one reason why you don't see a ton of blowouts in the NFL is because of pride. Not only like job security, like my job is on the line, and if I don't make this play, I may lose my job. I may not be here on Monday. Like all of that is obviously playing into, and obviously it's the best league in the world. It's the best players in the world, 100%. We get all of that. But a lot of these players have pride. Like when I think about college football players, at times you may have a good football team. You may have a pretty decent football team, but there are guys on your team that don't have the same mentality as everybody. So I may be a strong-willed guy. My teammate over to my right may be a strong-willed guy. My teammate to my left may be a strong-willed guy, but that guy in the back, he may not have the strongest will. He may not have the strongest pride. He may not be a prideful guy. He may not care. Hey, you beat up on me? I don't care. I'll get you back next week. I can get it back. I can earn it back somewhere else. I don't really care. I mean, no, in the NFL, if you beat me, I got to get my get back somehow, some way. I must get back. And I need this Idaho team to develop some freaking pride right now. And that was the last note on my notes for this week about this game. Pride has to kick in for Idaho because they have a tough remaining schedule to finish the season. We looked at NAU's remaining schedule. Let's look at Idaho's remaining schedule. Where are we at right now? October 31st, they play on, Halloween. Next week, they play UC Davis. The week after that, they play, where are they at? Do they have another bye? Have they not had it? Oh, no. They play Sacramento State on the road. They get UC Davis at home. The week after that, the final week, they play Idaho State. None of those games are easy. None of those games are going to be easy games. So Idaho State, the pride for the Vandals must kick in this week. I know you're 3-5. I know you're 1-3. You're not going to make the playoffs. You are not going to win the Big Sky. That is for sure. You're not going to do either. You maybe, if we see a lot of 5-win-loss teams, you maybe could make the playoffs. I don't see it happening. Pride has to kick in. How much do you care about it? How much do you want to build on for next season? Because that's where you're building for now. Coach Ford, Mr. Wood, Josh Wood, everybody there. You guys are building for next season. How much pride do you have? I'll leave it at that. You guys let me know what you think about this Idaho versus Northern Arizona game down below, and I will move on. Okay. Tarleton State versus Abilene Christian. Tarleton State is 9-0. Abilene Christian is 4-4, but they are 3-1 in conference. So understand that. This Abilene Christian team, I don't get them. Trust me, I do not understand this team. And that was my first note about this ACU football team. Abilene Christian has been an up-and-down football team so far this season. They have quality wins against a 6-2 Stephen F. Austin. I think it was in week 2, so early on in the season, and a 5-3 Austin and P, 45-31. They beat Stephen F. Austin 28-20. So those are quality wins. But then they have losses against a 2-6 Incarnate Word, 38-7. That's not just a loss. That is a beatdown to a 2-6 football team. A beatdown. And they have a loss to Southern Utah, who's 3-5. They lost that one 31-24. So it's like, I think about this Abilene Christian football team, and I'm like, who are you? I have no idea who you are. What I do know is you're clearly a team that can play with some of the best in the FCS. But I also know that you're inconsistent because you lost to a 2-6 and a 3-5 football team. Now, obviously, their records weren't that when they lost, but that is the fact of the matter right now. Incarnate Word's not a good football team. And if Abilene Christian is a playoff team, they should have won those games. Now, this is still a team with 4 losses that could make the playoffs, man. They could finish 8-4 and be a playoff team. I don't think they can lose this game against Tarleton State if they want to be a playoff team. I don't think it can happen. I don't think they can allow that to happen. I just don't think they can allow that to happen. Tarleton has been one of the best teams in the country. A dominant win this week may do a lot to silence the doubters. There's been a lot of doubters. I was one of them early on in the season. I may still have a little bit of doubt in there, but I mean, defensively, this team has been dominant, man. They've been dominant. They've been dominant, man. The only time they weren't dominant is when they played Southern Utah and maybe Army. Maybe I can go back and look at some of their games, but I mean, they've been pretty damn dominant this season, man. So at some point, it's time to give this team, we're not giving them flowers because they haven't won anything yet. They're on their way to a UAC title. They have not won one yet, but they are dominant. They look very good. Defensively, they look very good. Let's get into the number. Well, first off, let's talk about some of the key players for each team. Tarleton State, Victor Gabales, their quarterback. Trey Page, their running back. They got another running back with the last name Page, who's a good player as well. Peyton Kramer, their starting receiver. Cassius Kearns, 5 interceptions. That boy is a hawk. He had an interception last week against Eastern Kentucky. He is a player to watch for. AJ Owens, Yasir Holmes got 4.5 sacks. Angelo Anderson, a D tackle, got 8 sacks. He might be a DN, but it says D-line on their website. He's got 8 sacks. On the Abilene Christian side of things, Stone Earl, their quarterback. Jordan Vaughn, he was there last year. He's a really good player, running back. Javon Gibson is their receiver. And then Rashawn Miles, their linebacker. He's also a good player. Looking at the numbers, Tarleton State, number 1. These are all UAC numbers. The number 1 scoring offense. The number 1 scoring defense. The number 1 rushing offense. The number 5 rushing defense. The number 2 passing offense. The number 1 passing defense. The number 3 in sacks allowed at 13. Number 2 in sacks at 23. That's a lot because I think Sac State leads the country in sacks, and maybe they don't lead anymore. Last week they led and they were at 25. So Tarleton State's got to be near the top of the country in sacks at 23. Third in third down conversion percentage offense in the conference at 47.1%, and number 1 in third down conversion percentage defense at 31.4%. So, I mean, this team is good. The numbers check out. Obviously, the numbers are per conference. We haven't looked at national numbers. I'm sure they're near the top. Offensively, they're definitely near the top. But defensively, I don't know. Their scoring defense, they're allowing 16.2 points per game. If you think about that Montana State defense, which leads the Big Sky Conference, they allow, let's scroll up and see. That Montana State defense is allowing 17.5 points a game. So statistically, Tarleton State has played a better brand of football. Now, Tarleton State did not play a Oregon. Let's be clear about that. Montana State did play in Oregon. So let's understand where the numbers come from. Let's understand all the confounding factors that go into making the number what the number is. You have to understand everything. The numbers don't tell all the story, but they do tell a story. The numbers don't tell the whole story, but there is a story to be had within the numbers. So understand that. Abilene Christian, the number 5 scoring offense. And if we look at the conference, I think there's 9 teams in the UAC. Yeah, there are 9 teams in the UAC. So understand where they rank within the conference. There's 9 teams in the UAC. Abilene Christian, the number 5 scoring offense at 26.8 points per game. The number 6 scoring defense at 29.1 points per game. That's not great. Scoring defense giving up almost 30 points. That's not great. The number 7 rushing offense. The number 3 rushing defense. That might be their saving grace. We'll get into that in a minute. The number 3 passing offense. The number 8 passing defense. The number 7 in sacks allowed at 20. The number 9 in sacks at 11. Allowing 20 sacks in the season is crazy. That is not good. The number 1 in third down conversion percentage offense at 49.5%. That is phenomenal. Number 6 in third down conversion percentage defense at 42.7%. Let's get back to that rushing defense. Number 3 in rushing defense at 149. They got to stop the run. You got to stop the run. They got the number 1 rushing offense averaging 227.8 yards per game. Tarleton State does. You got to stop the run. It starts there. And I talk about this with every football team. Obviously, the coaches know this. Obviously, I don't know if all the fans know this or not. But you must stop the run. The 3 principles that we had at Montana, run the ball, stop the run, take care of the football. There was a whole bunch of other principles, but those are 3 of the core principles. Run the ball, stop the run, don't give away the football, take care of the football. The football is your life. The football is your ticket onto the field. If you don't take care of the football, we cannot play you. We can't. We can't. Run the ball, stop the run, and don't take care of the football. Either way, I think I'm messing up on the quote, the pillars, whatever it is, but you get what I'm saying. Run the ball and stop the run. That's the basis of football. Win in the trenches. And Abilene Christian, if they want to have an opportunity to win this football game, they got to win in the trenches. This would also give Tarleton State another ranked win on the season. It's crazy to think about a 4-4 football team being ranked, but Abilene Christian unfortunately has two ranked wins on the season. Austin P is ranked. Stephen F. Austin is ranked. 2 ranked wins on the season. So understand that. But this would also give Tarleton State another ranked win. They got a ranked win against West Georgia a couple weeks ago. This would give them their second. I think that West Georgia win was a ranked win. I believe it was a ranked win. Maybe not West Georgia. I believe that West Georgia win was a ranked win. A loss to TSU would most certainly knock ACU out of playoff contention with 5 losses on the season. Victor Gabales takes care of the ball at a high level. He's only got 1 interception on the season. ACU will have to play a near perfect game. TSU is playing at a really high level right now. Highlighting that. But yes, ACU needs to play a near perfect game. They got to play a near perfect game. And now if Tarleton State doesn't play a perfect game, that changes this. But if Tarleton State is playing the way they played the last few weeks against West Georgia and against Eastern Kentucky, Abilene Christian has to play a perfect game. I think in their last 2 games, Tarleton State has given up, let's look. Eastern Kentucky, they gave up 7. West Georgia, they gave up 10. Their last 2 weeks, they've given up 17 points. 17 points. And if we go a week before that, it bumps to 40 because they played Utah Tech and they gave up 23. So obviously, like I said, the numbers tell a story. They don't tell the whole story. If you broaden the sample size, it changes things. But still, even if you average that out, they gave up 17. So 3 weeks divided by 4, that's about 10 points a game. Let's go 40. 17 plus 23 is 40. Divided by 3 games, that's 13.3 points a game in their last 3 games. So even then, their average is what's their average? 16, 17? I think it's 16. Yeah, 16.2 points a game. They're right there at their average. So this is a very good defensive football team. They're playing at a high level. They got a lot of playmakers on this football team. Abilene Christian needs to be solid on all sides of the ball. They got to be solid on all sides of the ball. All sides of the ball. Last point I put on here, ACU has not been able to get to the quarterback at all this season. I mentioned that. go back to their sacks number, they're number 9 in the conference in sacks. So last in the conference in sacks. Last. They are last in the conference in sacks and near the bottom of the country. They need to be better at getting to the quarterback if they want to come out with a victory. I think you got to bring down Victor Gabales 1 or 2 times. I think you got to get him to the ground. You got to try to find a way to get this team behind in the sticks. You got to try to find a way to run the ball. Obviously, run the ball. You got the number 5 rushing defense. So that's also, too, another note I wanted to make. That's where ACU can potentially get some things going. Tarleton State clearly is not one of the better run-stopping defenses in the conference. They're a good run-stopping defense. They're not the best run-stopping defense in the conference. Actually, Abilene Christian has a better run defense than Tarleton State per the numbers. So that's where Abilene Christian can start to, the rushing defense and running the ball on offense. Abilene Christian needs to run the ball on offense. They need to stop the run on defense. That's number 1. But Victor Gabales can throw the ball too. So, yeah. You got to play a clean game. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. They got to play a clean game, but I think this is going to be a very exciting game this weekend. I'm very excited to see it. That's been the main talking point about this Tarleton State football team. Who have they played? It doesn't really matter. It's the same conversation with Montana, and that's what we really need to start getting to. Yeah, they haven't played anybody, but they have beat everybody. So, yes, they may not have played everybody, but winning every game is hard. We said it every week at Montana. Winning is hard. Losing is easy. Just ask those guys. Winning any game at any level is hard. So 9-0 is 9-0 is 9-0 is 9-0. Understand that. You guys let me know what you think about this Tarleton State versus Abilene Christian game down below, and I will move on. Okay! We got some no-huddle notes. I want to play a video. It's from Jake Gaden of CBS Sacramento. They interviewed Coach Brennan Marion yesterday. He was fined today $10,000, and for that, what he was fined for is what we're going to talk about right here. So I'm going to play the video, and then we will talk about it, give our comments. But this is what he was fined for. So pay attention, and we can get into it afterward.
Comments were made in the summertime that did not reflect our program or me, myself, making the comment. And I think everybody took that comment to heart and really, has ran with it. It's been really disheartening to our program and our players that, we get labeled as an undisciplined program from the standpoint that every team we play just becomes the most disciplined team in the country. And we end up being 10-1 penalties every single game that we play. So unfortunately, I can't control people's perception on what happened on those comments. But it's just unfortunate for our kids and our players that are, we got seniors that are getting looked at by the NFL and they return a kickoff, return touchdown, and we get a call or, stuff like that. We've had 8 touchdowns called back, which is, any other program I've been a part of, we don't have to deal with this. No, it's usually fair. It's like 5 penalties to 5 penalties or 6 penalties to 6 penalties. So if you look back at my career, my resume as a coach, we were a very disciplined program, and we did things the right way, and we are about sportsmanship. And so, unfortunately, people are upset about the comments made, and, people have a human element to them where they, obviously want to make us pay for those comments. But, 10-1 penalties every game is, we can pretend like we're an undisciplined program, but that's, that doesn't happen. The other team makes penalties as well. If it was 7-6 or 8-4, it would be like, okay, yeah, it's a football game. There's things that happen, but we're the most penalized team in the country right now, I think.
Boy, oh boy, things are not so hot in Sacramento right now. He was fined $10K for those comments. That is basically what the case would be in the NFL. I believe it would be the same case in the Power Fours at the FBS level. At every level, I think most conferences have rules in place to where you can't make comments about the conference. You can't make comments about the officials. Because if you allow one person to make comments about it, you're going to be getting comments every week from the coaches about, oh, this official didn't do this. We know the officials aren't perfect, and the Big Sky officials most certainly aren't perfect. So we don't want to act like, these guys are good guys. But if you open up Pandora's box to allow coaches and everybody to scrutinize these guys, that's all you'll see. So they fined him $10K for it. About my comments on his comments, it's a little. I don't know. I'm in an interesting position right here because I do understand what he's saying. The discrepancy is a little crazy. It's a little crazy. 10-1 is a little wild. Now, the fact that he's trying to say it stems from the president, I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I don't know if I would say, yeah, they're finding you because of what the president has said. I mean, I don't know if the refs are even tapped into what Dr. Lukewood has been doing. I don't know if that's the case. Now, being 10-1 discrepancy, there probably are some irregularities in there. There probably are. There's no doubting that there's probably some irregularities in those penalties. But the fact that it is that drastic, you can't just put it all on your president. You can't just, I mean, what I would love to see is a little bit of accountability. I mean, I don't really care what took place. And maybe this is because I played for Coach Houck. Maybe this is because this is the way Coach Houck always said this, and I know I bring up Coach Houck all the time. You can be mad about the way Coach Houck does a lot of things, but there's a lot of things. There is a reason that Coach Houck has won as much as he has. There's a reason Coach Houck is where he is. There's a reason he's the most winningest coach in Big Sky Conference history. Listen to when Montana loses, what do you hear out of Coach Houck? Yeah, we didn't do this good. We didn't do that good. It starts with me. I got to look in the mirror. I got to coach better. Point blank, period. Coach Houck always goes on that podium and says, I need to coach better. Because if it doesn't start with you, where does it start? Because you can't just start shedding blame on this person, on that person. And I learned a lot from hearing Coach Houck say that every week. I need to be better. Whenever I mess up, I was shooting this, the tailgate tour this year. I was shooting it. And the first week we did it, the video wasn't great. And I could have been mad at the cameraman and said, oh, well, my cameraman didn't do this. My cameraman didn't turn the sound on. I said, no, I didn't do a good enough job showing him how to turn the sound on. I didn't do a good enough job instructing him. I didn't do a good enough job on this, and that. It's not his fault that he truthfully didn't know. How would he have known? Because I didn't teach him. I think a lot can be gathered from that from Coach Houck. It starts at the top. And maybe, yes, maybe there is other things outside of your control as a coach. But to the media, to the people to the outside, to the fans, I'm taking the blame. I'm being held accountable. This is my team. I'm getting paid all the money to coach this team. I am taking the accountability. I'm not going to shed accountability on anybody else. I'm not going to say, oh, it was this person's fault. It was that person's fault. So yes, I do understand where Coach Marion is coming from. A 10-1 discrepancy is hard. And when you get multiple touchdowns called back, 8 touchdowns called back in a season, it's hard to say that, hey, some of us might think, hey, is there a collusion against us? And is something going on? Do the people not like us? I think it's correlation does not mean causation. Yes, your president made those comments. Yes, you guys are the most penalized team in the Big Sky Conference. I don't think those two things are related. I think there's a little bit of undisciplinedness in there. You may not be an undisciplined team, but you show undisciplined tendencies. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else it can be boiled down to. You guys show undisciplined tendencies. And I'm going to leave it at that. You guys let me know what you think about Sacramento State head coach Brendan Marion's comments. What do you guys think about the $10K fine? Too much? Too little? You guys let me know. And I'm not even moving on because this is no Huddle Notes. Next, North Dakota takes on South Dakota in the trap game before NDSU matchup. North Dakota has been rolling, but they need to stay focused this week before playing NDSU. South Dakota will need to be better passing the ball to beat this UND squad because they won't be doing it on the ground. This is the second best run stopping defense in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They allow 89.6 rushing yards a game. North Dakota State's number 1, allowing 89.1 rushing yards a game. LJ Phillips is not going for 250 on this North Dakota football team. I'm sorry. If he does, hey, I will tip my hat to you and I will give you a round of applause, a standing ovation. I just don't see it happening this week. So they got to be better. Aiden Bauman's got to be better. Those receivers got to show up. They don't have Carter Bell. They don't have some of the guys from last year, Karan Adams. The guys on the second in the second level got to show up. The guys at the receiver position got to show up for South Dakota. Next, Harvard takes on Dartmouth in a big time matchup. Dartmouth is 5-1. Their only loss came to Penn, 36-34. Harvard is 6-0. This is the next biggest game of the season for Harvard following their big victory against Princeton. So Harvard has passed every test. They're looking like they're going to be getting that AQ out of the Ivy League, but Dartmouth, they still got to play Dartmouth and they still got to play Yale. So Dartmouth is the next place on their schedule. I expect Harvard to win, but I think it could be a close one. I think this could be a very close game. And we will see. We will certainly see. So, you guys let me know what you think about that. Tennessee Tech takes on Gardner-Webb in biggest matchup of their season. Tennessee Tech will not have a bigger game during the regular season, so this one is big for evaluating them as a team and also is important to give them respect around the FCS landscape. Tennessee Tech is undefeated. They've looked absolutely amazing. They've beat up on everybody. They're averaging 50 points a game. You don't see that. You just don't see that. This team is very good. Kakoa Vispris is a dog. Their running game is dog. Good dog. Their defense, I don't know about their defense because who is the competition that they've played? And you look at this Tennessee Tech schedule and it's like, Urgh! The conversation that they have about Tarleton State, the conversation that they're trying to have about Montana, the conversation that they're having about everybody who's undefeated. Who have they played? Lehigh, fair conversation to have. Tennessee Tech, fair conversation to have. Tarleton State, fair conversation to have. Montana, fair conversation to have. Tennessee Tech got to win this game. They got to win this game. Point blank, period. A loss to Gardner Webb would put a damper on what Tennessee Tech has been able to accomplish this season. Win or lose, Tennessee Tech still looks like a playoff team this season, but a loss would not look great. A loss would not look great. You got to win, Tennessee Tech. Drake and Butler face off in consequential Pioneer League game. Drake is currently undefeated in Pioneer League play. Drake will not play Presbyterian this season. Good for them. I don't know if that's good for Presbyterian. They wish they probably played them. If Butler wins, this will put Presbyterian right back in the Pioneer League title conversation because Butler does already have a loss to Presbyterian. So if Butler beats Drake, Presbyterian's back in the conversation. But also remember, Presbyterian lost to, man, why am I going blank? Who the hell did they lose to last week? Let's scroll up and go to my notes from last week. They lost to Dayton. So they lost to Dayton. Presbyterian is hoping that Drake loses this week to Butler. That would make things interesting in the Pioneer League. Now, obviously, Dayton, I believe, is still undefeated in Pioneer League play too. So that would put Dayton in the driver's seat. And now Presbyterian has to hope that Dayton loses to somebody. But we'll see. We'll see. Dayton might also have a loss. I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me. But big game for Drake and Butler. Mercer put SoCon lead on the line against Furman. Mercer currently controls their destiny in the Southern Conference. Furman has not been a super strong team this season, but they are still a formidable opponent. They have losses to Presbyterian, 39-38. I believe that was an overtime game. Western Carolina, 52-7, which was a beatdown. And then they lost to Wofford, who has maybe one or two wins on the season, 31-13. So Furman has not been a strong team this year. I don't think they're necessarily a playoff team this year. They're a decent football team, better than average football team, but they're not a great football team this year. Mercer should win this game comfortably, but if they don't, that will be telling. Remember, this Mercer team lost to Presbyterian, a Presbyterian team that now has their first loss to Dayton. I mean, you look at some of these losses some of these teams take. Obviously, people have good games. Obviously, people have bad games. People have a bad day. But Mercer needs to win this game. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Two more on here. Prairie View A&M takes on Alabama State in big-time SWAC matchup. SWAC ball is going to be exciting this weekend. Prairie View A&M is 6-2. I believe Alabama State is also 6-2. I don't have it right in front of me. Damn it. Let me go find the standings real quick. Just give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up right now. But I believe Alabama State only has a loss or two on the season, too. They got one FBS loss and one FCS loss. The FCS losses to Jackson State. The FBS losses to UAB. I think they're 6-2 as well. Yeah, they're 5-2. So Alabama State's 5-2. Prairie View A&M is 6-2. Both have two losses. Both Prairie View A&M's undefeated on the SWAC West. Alabama State is 3-1 in the SWAC East. So Alabama State needs to win this game to potentially hope that Jackson State maybe gets another loss in the season. But Jackson State controls their own destiny because they beat Alabama State. Prairie View A&M is undefeated, the only undefeated team in the SWAC West, so they control their own destiny. But Alabama State needs a win right here, but Prairie View A&M also needs a win. So it's a must-win for both teams. It's going to be an exciting game. I think they're going to put it all on the line. Prairie View A&M needs to win to keep its conference lead in the West. Bama State needs a win to keep pace with Jackson State. A second loss may knock them out of Celebration Bowl contention for good. We don't know if Jackson State will take a second loss, but I think, yeah, if they take a second loss, obviously they'll be behind Alabama State, but Alabama State does not have the tiebreaker against Jackson State. Both teams have one loss in the East, but Jackson State is leading because they beat Alabama State. So we'll see. You guys let me know what you think about that. Lastly, University of Texas Rio Grande Valley takes on Stephen F. Austin in a statement game for both schools. Stephen F. Austin is looking like a playoff team and a Southland contender, but URG-TV has the makings of a team that can upset them. They are very explosive on offense. Quarterback, you got Diaz at receiver. They got another receiver. I can't remember his name, but their quarterback is a dog. Their receivers are dogs. I think their defense, I don't know. UTRGV is comfortably out of the conference title race. They have 2 conference losses. I don't know if I see another one of those 3, the Sela or Stephen F. Austin or Lamar losing 2 Southland games, maybe even 3. So they're comfortably out of the conference title race, but a win against Stephen F. Austin could catapult them to catapult this team going forward. I also don't know if this University of Texas Rio Grande Valley team is a playoff team right now because they played like 3 non-D1 teams. So from that standpoint, are they going to get enough wins to really qualify this season? Got to clean up that schedule next season. You're there. You can play against the best. We got to clean up the schedule next year, UTRGV. A dominant win for Stephen F. Austin looks good, gives them confidence, and moves them 1 game closer to the SLC title. Stephen F. Austin is 6-1 versus the FCS. Their only loss coming to ACU in week 2. Stephen F. Austin is a much different football team than they were then. I expect Stephen F. Austin to win. I think it could be a close game, but we don't know. So I think this is going to be very exciting. I think this game is going to be very, 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 very exciting. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So you guys let me know what you think about all those no huddle notes above. Which game are you most excited about watching? You guys let me know, and I will move on. Okay, I want to thank you guys so much for tapping into the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. My subscribers have been growing. We're growing at 100 subscribers a month right now. Let's get that up to 200, 300. Share this with your mama, with your auntie, with your cousin. Share it with everybody. Let everybody know about Samuel Akem. Let everybody know about Akem'S analysis. Let everybody know about the channel. Tell them to come support. Tell them to come see your boy. We out here giving the analysis that you need. So I appreciate you guys tapping in. This video has been brought to you by Sportsbet Montana, the exclusive sportsbook of the Samuel Akem YouTube channel, and Akem'S analysis. And they are also Montana's exclusive sportsbook. So go check out Sportsbet Montana for all your sports betting needs, your game, your bets, your state, powered by the Montana Lottery. I thank you guys so much for tapping into the channel this week. Check me on Monday when we're recapping all the videos, and we'll have a good time. So see you guys later.